Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and Dayz is finally here, guys. The Dayz Standalone Alpha is finally released over on Steam. It's also available through Bohemia's main website. If you feel like jumping into the fray and helping this game grow and this game build, you can purchase it through Steam's Early Access program for $29.99. But I figured the best way to begin the introduction to Dayz as a piece of content on my channel was, of course, to do a small tutorial to kind of help you guys get into the game and talk about some of the things I've learned over the past 4 hours of playing this game. Now, right now, I actually do need to see if I can't get myself some drink and food here. I'm sitting down, actually. One of the first things you're gonna want to do is figure out all of your key bindings. Now, I'll lay off some of the default key bindings right now. F3 is to sit. Sitting is something you're going to want to do when you see the indicator saying that your character is tired, they're getting a headache. I believe people have been saying, as far as I've been able to tell, you have to sit down for a minimum of 3 minutes for it to actually have any effect. But basically, it's good to sit down every once in a while. If you just walk somewhere, I mean, especially you're going to be doing plenty of walking, just like Dayz is always. You're going to want to sit down, find good cover, find a place where you're safe, where your back isn't exposed to possible enemies, whether it be zombies or human players, and take a break. Sit down, grab some food, grab something to drink. That's what I'm doing right now in the inventory system here. Now, the default key for inventory is, in fact, tab, which I think is a very good key for it. We're actually really low on water, though. We've drank all of our water. I do have some sardines, I believe, though, that we can eat, so we're going to put those in our hand. Now, just about everything you do, the way it works in the inventory system is to put it in your hands first. Once it's in your hands, you can then use the mouse scroll or the middle click to consume it. Sadly, you can't eat things while you're sitting down, so you tend to stand up while you're doing this, but that's okay. We'll sit back down again. And you'll see that I have a lot of things on my hotbar here. In my opinion, the hotbar is a really nice way to be able to toggle and untoggle different items, take them in and out of your hands. So I have my firefighter axe that I found, I have my Mosin, which doesn't actually have any ammunition in yet, my flashlight, my compass, and my compass is actually in 2 spots. So I'll quickly show you guys. To get something off of a taskbar, just simply dump it out on the outside. It won't like throw it on the ground. If you put it in the vicinity, you will. It'll just simply remove it from the taskbar down here, the quick bar, I guess we'll call it. Now, to the right here, we have our inventory. Our inventory is comprised of all of the different pieces of clothing we have and the different slots that those pieces of clothing offer. So you can see I have my orange mountain backpack, which is a 35 slot. Each item, it's kind of like the classic RPG inventory system, takes up a different amount of inventory spaces. So you'll be spending plenty of time organizing your inventory, trying to get as much stuff as you can into your gear. Of course, then my raincoat has its own slots, my pants, and then you have a weapon slot, which allows you to add and remove modifications to and from your weapon. And then we have our wearable inventory. So we have our shoes, we have gloves, we have glasses. You can also wear a mask and a helmet, which is a bit overkill. But all of these things provide you with layers of protection. One of the first things you're going to want to do, apart from finding yourself some sort of a melee weapon, is to find some decent clothing. Whether it be, any heavy jacket is very, very beneficial. I've been using this orange raincoat, which I think it's still in pretty good condition. Let's see right now. It's still pristine. It is damp, which is sort of an issue that can actually make me very sick. But what it's doing is protecting me from zombies. I've actually trekked about 2 hours down the coast to get to where I am now, to Berezino, to this ship here. I think we can stand up now. I can kind of walk around and show you guys what's going up. I do think there's a player in the area, though, so I'm going to be a bit cautious and walk a little bit slow. But this is one of the new pieces of, I guess, one of the new elements that's been added to Dayz Standalone. This is this sort of giant ship. It's split in half, and you can get to the top of it through the one side, and then there's more of it over there that can be explored. Plenty of decent loot on this, actually. I found some gas cookers and some parts, and actually another dead player, which I got that compass off of, which I'm pretty stoked about. So there is a lot to explore in Standalone. But, again, you're going to be walking for really long periods of time. You're going to be running into zombies. While they are very few, because zombies, as well as loot, are set to a respawn that is purely based on when the server restarts. Man, I am extremely tired. I guess we'll sit back down for a second. We're going to be just doing some talking, giving you guys some tips anyways. I think the rest of Dayz, as a new player, is definitely worth experiencing for yourself, but these tips are going to make the experience that much more enjoyable. So again, clothing is a must. Keeping your clothing in good condition is a must. I've been attacked by zombies with a t-shirt on. You're pretty much guaranteed to start bleeding, which makes sense. If a zombie slashed at you in real life, you'd be pretty screwed. So having this raincoat I've survived around 6 separate zombie attacks. So it's a pretty beneficial, piece of equipment, having some thick, heavy piece of coat on to prevent you from bleeding, because then, of course, if you bleed, you're going to lose blood. You're also possibly going to get infected. You're going to have to use rags because you're probably not going to have bandages. Rags can lead to infection. There's lots of ways to die in the standalone. And, yeah, there's lots of ways to die in the standalone. And the way the loot system is working now, it's not very easy to find a lot of things to help you stay healthy, like, clean, fresh bandages rather than rags. As well as we start talking about the disinfectants and things like that. Disinfectant wipes, those are very rare to come by. So you're going to want to avoid becoming infected or, taking hits that could possibly lead to infection or doing things that can lead to infection or sickness if you want to keep your character alive. That's something that's my task. I know there's not a lot to the standalone right now, but staying alive is my sort of mini goal, my meta game to really enjoying what standalone has to offer currently. So I've just been trying to survive with this character as long as I can. It's roughly 2 days old in terms of actual real time, and about 6 hours, I think, going on now. And this character, originally, to show you how well I've nursed myself back to health, got its head beat in by another man with a wrench. Yes, another player decided to run up to me with a wrench. We both had nothing at all. He had a wrench and scream, "Hey, bitch!" and start trying to kill me. Luckily, I was intelligent enough to run out into the water and then swim out there. I bandaged myself with my own shirt, and this is the same character, believe it or not. I've managed to get that many, enough medical supplies to bring myself up to good standing in order to be at where I am now. Now, again, I'm a bit concerned about going down here, but we're going to start. I actually just logged back in, so there is fresh loot on the ship here. We can see we have a gas canister. These are used to power things like the gas cooker as well as the torches, which are currently bugged, but I believe they will be fixing in the patch that is supposedly going to be out by the end of today. Now, the other thing you're going to keep an eye on is batteries. While I haven't actually found any batteries apart from on other dead players, that is something you're going to want to focus on. Especially with the amount of people on servers, you are bound to find dead, fresh spawns. Steal the batteries out of their flashlights. Now, to remove batteries and add batteries to the flashlight, you're simply going to move over your flashlight, and you're going to take it. Yeah, there you go. You're going to right-click on it, and you're going to be able to detach the alkaline 9-volt battery. Take that, pop that in your inventory, because batteries are a very useful asset when the servers at this current point in time seem to be nighttime for most of the time. Luckily, if you get the moonlight out, it's a little bit easier to walk around without using a flashlight, which of course is another survival tactic you're going to want to employ as much as possible. While there is obviously going to be times where you're going to need to use a flashlight, it's also nice to use it at a minimum to prevent attracting zombies as well as other players to your vicinity. The last thing you want is, some player who just freshly spawned in to sneak up on you in the dark, crack you in the back of the head, steal all your awesome loot, and then run away. Now, in terms of arming yourself, melee weapons are one of the new staples inside of DayZ. Firearms, while they're not that far and few, I have managed to find an M4 and the Mosin now. Ammunition, for me, has been far and few. Every time I've found ammo, I've left it behind, only to find the weapon that ammo went with moments later. So melee weapons are a plus, not to mention you don't want to just be wasting ammo on zombies. I mean, who the hell just wants to go around shooting zombies with a super loud 7.62 54R Mosin Nagant? It's expensive ammo, it's a loud gun, the last thing you want to do is just be dumping it on Zeds. So, the melee weapons are a plus for that. Now, getting used to the melee system is something that's going to take a little bit of practice. The best thing I can say is back up as much as possible when fighting against zombies. Let them swing, wait for the miss, and then counter that with a hit. Turn off my flashlight here. I have a PU scope on my Mosin already. Okay, this one's pristine, that one's badly damaged. And those are really the core components to staying alive inside of Standalone. Now, in terms of the controls and key bindings, I'll briefly go over those for those of you guys who might be brand new players, somebody who's just getting into the series completely confused. As default bindings go, the spacebar is what brings you into a sort of jogging mode. If you're in this jogging mode, you'll notice that your flashlight is pointing at the ground. Your axe will also move into a different position. If you go to deploy a melee weapon in that jogging position, you will not be accurate. You have to make sure you toggle it off in order to attack again. In terms of sprinting, the default is to double tap the W key. That will put you into sprint, which I'm not going to do inside of this tiny little ship here. Obviously, it's going to make you a much more noticeable target in terms of the zombies. You're going to be much louder. but it is going to help you move across the environment that much more quickly. It's also going to drain your resources, your energy. Things like food and water are going to go down a lot quicker. You're going to become tired much quicker if you're constantly sprinting. So that's something to keep in mind. Crouch walking is something I definitely recommend. That can be done by using the X. X is going to toggle into crouch. Z will toggle into prone, and C can be used to stand back up again. If you're a fan of playing in third person, it's still the same key. Enter will switch to third person. And then, of course, you can use the Q and E key to lean out from behind of cover. Now, as I said, F3 is to sit. F1 will wave, so if you want to signal to somebody you are friendly. There's also a taunt key you can set up. I don't have it, but that will flip people off. Not a big fan of that. I'd rather be friendly with everyone. It's hard enough surviving in this game without making enemies with some guy with an axe when I have an axe and then getting in a ridiculous fisticuffs. So, that's the core of Dayz Standalone. If you're not familiar with the mod at all, this is the first time you're playing a game, I think a lot of these tips that I've said here will be very helpful to you. Some of the other things I want to talk about now for players of who are returning, returning players who have played the mod for a very long period of time and are no dumping in the standalone, who may not understand that this is a brand new map, Chernarus Plus, so to speak. Everything is different. There is no more run to Starry Sober, run to the Northwest Airfield. Everything can be explored. The world is that much, it's that much more vast in terms of what can and can't be explored. There's easily, 100 times more locations that actually feature loot now. So take advantage of that. Don't just go to the same places, because the same loot you thought was there isn't going to be there. It's all based on real-world locations. Hospitals are going to have hospital loot. If you go to a military location, it's going to have military loot. A lot of the military locations, the tents and things like that used to exist in places like Starry Sober, are now gone. There are actual military locations elsewhere on the map that you're going to have to hunt down and find if you want to get to that good military loot. Everything has changed. Think of it as a brand new experience, and don't try and play it like the Dayz mod that you used to know. Just look at it like a brand new survival experience. You kind of know the map, but a lot of things have changed. Take that knowledge, and instead of trying to, force yourself to go to places that you used to go, try and absorb some new knowledge, some new information, and then make your decisions as to where and how to navigate throughout this extremely large map based on that information. So that's it for me, guys. You can expect to see plenty more Dayz here on my channel. My series will be starting sometime this week. I'm going to be recording a ton of footage, getting a lot of stuff to edit together to make some really awesome Dayz Standalone videos. And of course, if you're playing the game and you can't understand it's alpha, it's alpha. They're fixing a lot of things. There's already a patch that's going to be coming out very, very soon. And for those of you who didn't expect it to be this bare bones, I mean, man, Rocket said it enough, guys. It's alpha. It's going to be very, very bare minimum. They booted this entire game from the start back in December, and we are playing what is going to be the foundation for, hopefully, what will become a rather fantastic survival experience. It's been Tony Mo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.